if you're not getting satisfied sexually, your body does need it. And so if you're not getting it, when your body has to do it, you release. But how do you release? I know you're all masturbating to porn out there. So let's just look how to do it. Every instant gratification is dopamine. So what we've all become is dopamine addicts. And there's an addict to that, particularly for women. The whole knowing what everybody else is doing, they're addicted to that. We tend to be more vulnerable to the visual addiction. That's males. Women are less visual. So, if I just stand naked in front of all the women, they're not going to have much of a reaction unless I'm the only man in the room and I'm going to give her a lifetime of fulfillment. Okay, then I can walk in naked. Otherwise, forget it. They're turned off. But any woman can walk in my room naked. I go, oh, particularly when I'm younger. Now I'm not interested. I didn't want to see another woman naked. I just want to see my partner naked. That's it. That's it. I feel like you see, there's so much that we don't know about sex. But one is when you ejaculate, you're giving your spirit energy to this person. And if they don't love you, that's just wasted. If you give your spirit energy to somebody and they love you back, which means they had an orgasm. Okay, if she didn't have an orgasm, you didn't get your energy back. So many women have to fake orgasm because men will say, well, did you orgasm? We know something's wrong here if she doesn't orgasm because we just doesn't feel as good. We want to know we got that orgasm. We're not as sensitive to really know for sure. So many women fake orgasm. But there's a reality of your energy field builds through having sex and even ejaculating. If you emptied out your savings into a great investment, basically, it's going to come back to you. Then it's fine. But you keep putting your money out there in bad investments, you're losing it. You're losing empty, empty, empty. So how do you train yourself? First thing is when you're masturbating, the goal, you get turned on by some naked woman. There's nothing more dopamine stimulating than a stranger woman with no clothes on. Okay. See, the sex is ruled by the monkey brain back here. Okay. It's completely automatic. You cannot control who you get turned on to. It happens. I can't just go, hey, erection doesn't happen. No erection doesn't happen. It comes up at the most inconvenient times when I was younger, that's for sure.
It's unconscious, yeah.
It's run by the unconscious. That's what we have to recognize. This is not something in your power. So what you can do is control it, okay? So you can't make it come up or down, but you can decide where it goes and what you do with it, all right? And you don't want it to be addicted to ejaculation. So before I get into the technique on how to give up your addiction to masturbation, let me just talk about one of the other dangers. In your generation, kids that have been doing it every day for 5 years or so forth, they get to 21 years old, they get in a relationship with a girlfriend, they have sex, and they lose interest. That's it. This is happening more and more. There's actually 21-year-olds who are impotent when they're with a woman. But if they're with a stranger online, they're not impotent. That's because they're now dependent on the drug to raise it up. And the more you depend on a high dopamine stimulator to have your testosterone go up, the less normal stimulation, which is a girl who says, you have to do this and this for me before I have sex with you. It's a lot of work. You basically go, there's nothing there. But also what it's about is when you're actually care about a woman, you know her and you're bonding with her and you feel a connection, you like her, you want to do nice things for her. It makes you happy when she's happy. That's estrogen. That means when you're with her, your estrogen goes up. If your testosterone is really low, then you can't have an erection with her. You need to have higher testosterone so that when you love her, the testosterone comes down a little bit. So you become a little softer, you become a little more gentle, you become a little more caring. But you don't go all the way down. Anytime a man has high estrogen than his testosterone, he's not going to be able to get an erection in that situation. Yeah. So you got to pump up your testosterone. And now, so that's the point of this, is you want to be able to sustain relationship where you have sexual attraction. People are just not getting married now because they lose interest in each other sexually. That's it. You know, you don't feel that electricity. You know, in my marriage, my wife, she dresses and undresses in a different room. Why?
Why?
Because if I see breasts, I want to have sex right away with her. You know, it's like, give me some peace.
John is chasing her out here.
All the time, because it doesn't release. Okay, so I don't have to have that recovery period. Well, we're built to have a recovery period unless you learn how to have sex without ejaculating. That's a different story. But we'll get to that. And before you want to be able to do that, you want to be able, when you do have sex, to last longer. Okay, so a good 60, 70% of low testosterone males, basically they put it in and 2 minutes later it's done. You know, it feels great. It's a great orgasm, whatever. They can't last long. I mean, to be able to for an hour and take her to orgasm and orgasm and orgasm puts her totally into estrogen land, mindless. That's what the French call it, which was a little death. You know, that's when I stop, is when she says, you know, I'm dying. I say, okay, well, stop. You know, that's great sex. That's what you can have. But, you know, she has to have a lot of estrogen, but you increase that estrogen by the way you have sex with her. Desiring a woman and not ejaculating continues to rise her estrogen levels. But you have to feel all that desire without being attached to all the pleasure, because your brain is attached to that dopamine pleasure moment. So your brain says, hey, let's ejaculate. And you've trained yourself for years just masturbating to get your release. So what you have to do is practice never masturbating to pictures or internet porn. That's the first step. So go easy with yourself. However much you masturbate, don't change it at all. Just don't use pictures and porn. And you kind of go, but I need that. Then you start remembering pictures and porn. And you go, okay, but then you keep trying to let go of those pictures, you know, just so you're not dependent on it. Just check in with your body. Do I really need that release? The body thinks it needs it because you're addicted to it. But now you're not at least visiting the cocaine dealer. You're not going to go online and look at that. So that's abstinence. First thing is abstinence. Second thing is now you're going to masturbate and you're going to try to not use pictures in your mind. You will, but you try not to. Okay? What I want to do is I want to look at the clock. And my goal is to see how long I can feather touch my penis without ejaculating.
With an actual feather? Are we using an actual feather?
No, just finger. Using your finger. Okay, feather touch. Just, you know, guy go like, you know, we get going. Oh, you know, so we're building this tension. You see, there's a tension that we have to release. That causes the ejaculation. So you find that you're sitting there. Okay, so I got to masturbate. So you got this big erection. What am I going to do with it? You look at the clock. Keep looking at the clock. So your eyes aren't closed. So you can't visualize fantasy so much if your eyes are open. And you're looking at the clock. And you say, okay, so my goal today is to stroke myself gently for 10 minutes. All right. And then not ejaculate. My goal is not to ejaculate. My goal is to learn how to keep an erection for 10 minutes and gently touch it. And you see what happens with male ejaculation, it goes in stages. There's an arousal stage, and this is all science. This is Masters and Johnson, then later replicated, that the arousal stage is everything feels good, okay? Then you have a plateau stage, and when you're masturbating, that's when you start going harder, because you're trying to see in the arousal stage, everything just feels good. Whatever you do feels good. It's going up, and then it hits a plateau where you continue trying to make it feel, it still feels good, but it doesn't feel better and better and better. You're now on a plateau. And once you get that plateau, you've got probably for a lot of men who have been doing porn, you've got about 2 seconds before you realize, if I keep doing this, then that spasm is going to take place and I'm going to have an ejaculation.
The point of no return.
That's a point of no return. So you want to be able to keep noticing the point of no return and keep it out there till like 20 seconds. So you touch yourself, and you see that you're 20 seconds away from the point of no return, or as much far away you can get, then stop. And your erection will still be there. And then you touch and touch and touch. And your whole thing is to get 10 minutes with a hard erection without getting to the point of no return. And then you go take a cold shower. Now, what I did as a monk when I was celibate is we had bathtubs. I'd fill that bathtub up with cold water, and then I would do 3 dips in it every day. Oh, it was freezing cold.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a guy online, he teaches classes on cold water therapy. You want to build your testosterone, check out that. I mean, if you have the power, it takes power to do cold water therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But it will kick you into your testosterone, will just shoot up just right. Because who wants to be in ice cold water? But I also am an expert on ice cold water, although I don't do it so much. The trick to it is if you get in ice cold water, don't move. If you don't move, it's not so cold. That's the technique. As soon as you move, it's more cold. But you just do it as willpower. It's like when you get in a swimming pool, you jump in and you swim really hard, then you're not cold. You just got to get your system going. So you got to take that energy that's in your erection and shoot it through your whole body without that orgasm. So you keep saying, your motivation as a guy, I know what our motivations are. We want to for an hour. I mean, just drive her crazy. Well, that's a power. That's like going to the gym. You got to build up a muscle to do that. You want to have pecs, you want to have muscles. What do? You got to work out, so your masturbation becomes this workout where if you've got these erections, not that you try to get erections, you never try to get erections, but you're going to have them because you're addicted to them. So now you say, my goal is 10 minutes. Then you go to my goal is 15 minutes. My goal is 30 minutes. You get the goal is 30 minutes, you've got a hard erection, and then you're with a girl, you can bring her to places she's never been before. Not that I'm suggesting it's a big thing, but Baryshnikov, have you heard of Baryshnikov?
No.
Okay, in my generation, my wife always wanted me to go see him. He's the ballet guy like you can't believe. He can do stuff on stage, that unimaginable stuff. He was the superstar ballet guy. And Baryshnikov was known, you think gay guys are going to be doing all the ballet. He wasn't gay, he was heterosexual, and he's having sex with all the women. He was known as the stud. Why was he the stud? Because he was doing one of the most powerful exercises in order to build your potency to last longer in sex.